out of the wood. Now, the screw that came with the latch was about, I don't know, what do you call that, an inch and a half screw?
Yeah,
inch
and a quarter.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's not a significant screw, and it pulled it right out of the wood. And the wood, throw up the other picture there, Chris. The wood it goes into is actually 3 pieces of wood together, so it's 4 and a quarter inches. Yeah, 4.5 deep.
It's inch and a half, and inch and a half.
I took a tape measure to it today.
4.5.
It's about 4 and 2/8. 2/8. It's 4
Yeah,
and a
no
quarter.
need to measure.
Yeah.
It's all inch and a half. It's all 2x materials, sandwich times 3, inch and a half times 3.
So I got a longer screw, a 3-inch screw, because that'll give a little more life to the thing.
Yeah.
I'll re-screw it. The question is, the part that's yoked out from the original screw, that inch and a quarter, inch and a half that's yoked out from the original screw, I want to fill that. Do I fill it with caulk? Do I fill it with... I have wood epoxy. I can fill it with wood epoxy. I fill it with wood glue. What should I fill it with, thus to create more of a bond around that part of the longer screw? Does that make
Fine
sense?
question for Gina.
I'll take my answer
because
off
you're not
the
a
air.
woodworking person.
I am not.
Let me put yoked out into a sentence.
Big dude with lots of muscles.
No.
Think hot dog in a hallway, but the opposite.
Oh.
After
I'm
Michelle gave birth to triplets naturally, her vagine was yoked out.
Oh.
I'm putting it into a sentence
Thank
like
you.
Gene
Understood.
Rayburn would do in the old Match Game kind of
Appreciate
thing. You know what
so,
I mean?
lost its elasticity.
Just whatever he's got a...
Doesn't snap back into place.
Right. So what he's got is your basic gate with your latch hasp thing. And they took a wood screw and they screwed it into the wood. Now, a problem that a lot of people have is they'll put that wood screw too close to the edge of the wood, and all it'll do is crack for the most part or pull out. You need a little meat, meaning if you're going to put a screw, a wood screw, a kind that's got a point on it versus a kind that takes a nut, a bolt that takes a nut on the end of it, you're gonna get it close to the edge. It's just gonna kind of crack.
Split.
It's just gonna kind of split. So this was a problem waiting to happen because with the repeated action and a spring-loaded hinge, oftentimes, and the way you open it up and it kind of slams shut, it's just gonna pull it out. So it bothers me when people don't sort of take the time to sort of know what's going to happen. This is going to take a repeated spring hinge. You're going to let it go. It's going to the gardener's going to go through it. He's going to fling it open. It's going to let it shut behind him. Mailman's going to ka-chung, and it's going to just pull this thing out. So there's a few things we can do. Now the best and the problem that will solve it for the longest period of time is the through bolt with the nut on the end of it.
Oh, go all the way through.
All the way
anchor it on the other
through.
side.
You got a long ways to go. 4.5 is kind of a long run for a quarter or 3/8 thing, and you definitely want to use stainless steel, and you definitely want to use a washer on the outside, and you definitely want to use a nut that had a nylon ring in it, so it was a lock nut essentially, because otherwise it would just get loose and start rattling around.
Okay, so the things in my car, I wish I could show it to you physically, but you can make it out. Put that first picture up there, Kaylin. The hole in the bolt is extremely small, so what I'm calling the bolt, I don't know what you would call it, the arm, the finger, the whatever. So getting a bolt that would be 5 inches long and thin enough to fit through that hole seems challenging.
It's there.
Okay.
You can find it. Because the wood is all cracked out and effed out and screwed up. And you have 2 plans. Plan 1 is fill that thing with epoxy, fill it with pieces of wood, take popsicle sticks and put it in glue and smash it into the hole and break it off and do all that kind of stuff to essentially fill the existing hole.
Considering I have wood epoxy, what would be the best thing to do?
I would
glue also.
First things first, clean everything out. Blow it out. I mean, literally get down there and...
Well, we have the compressed air. You
have compressed air? Well, look at you. Take your compressed air and blow it all out. Get all the dust and stuff. Get it all out of there. Clean all it. Then make up your wood epoxy and push it in. Really try to pack it in. Like you don't have a tuck trowel or something. But back to the popsicle stick. Just force it into that crack. Just really shove it in there so it fits tight. Let it dry overnight. Then get your arm where you want it, hold it up, put a little Sharpie mark on it where the hole is, and take a pilot bit and drill a pilot hole, like 1/8-inch wide pilot hole, and just drop it down like an inch or something. Then, when you put your new screws, wood screws, back in, take the wood screws, clean them well, and coat the threads with like silicone or painter's caulk or something of that nature. If you do it with 100% silicone, as you turn it in, it'll kind of, and it'll grab, when it dries, it'll grab harder.
Okay, so my thought was, and tell me if I'm right, should I do the screwing of the screws in when the epoxy, whatever, is still wet, so it hardens around it?
No, that's the part where I said wait till the next day, show up, mark it, and do it. When it's wet, no, not as good.
Okay.
But let it dry, and then drill it, and then what I like to do is, once I drill it, take your canned air, squirt it out there, and you can take the caulk and squirt it right into the hole. And then when you turn your screw in, the screw threads will go around, and it'll kind of push out, and it'll help it grip a lot better.
All right.
So there you go.
Right.
I like that.
Thank
you.
There
Or
you
just
go.
get a new door.
That's all right. Throw the whole thing
But
out.
you're up for this, huh, Brian?
Yeah.
You got cordless drill.
I do. I have a 12-volt Makita.
Oh, that's cute. 12 volts.
I think it's 12.
Yeah. Well, good. Maybe Sonny can borrow it one day.
I think it
dangerous.
is. I'm pretty sure. It could be 24.
Yeah.
What is that? What's the
You've
most
used it
popular?
twice. It's
Stop
24.
it. Stop it. What's the most popular models? 12?
Oh, they vary.
Okay.
Probably 18 now or
Okay.
something. 24 is on the big side. 12 sort of. So 18 sort of in the middle. Now,
I'll have to look.
my first was 9.6 many years ago.
I'm fairly handy for a sound effects guy.
For an
on a
indoor kid.
podcast.
Well, I think this one is well within your reach. I'm looking at the picture. I'm worried about the screw on that's still there. And
no,
wondering
it's all out. I pulled it all out.
It's all out.
That one got twisted because
Okay.
it came out.
Don't look. Tip of the day: don't use drywall screws because you think it's handy or going to work. Use the woodworking screws, and you have a panhead screw that has a better finished look. Don't use a flathead screw.
Until tested to get to eating those popsicles.
Yes. All right. So you shall fix, and then you shall paint, and then you shall be
Report.
happy.
That's right.
You shall report. All right.
On the home improvement tip, this really isn't a home improvement, but it is home. I felt something you have felt for so many years on such a micro scale.
Don't be a one-upper, like I said before.
This is a 10 downer. But I wanted you to know that finally I sort of kind of identify with what you've been saying about the city and about the shakedowns and the racketeering, basically. We have our Simply Safe, which I love. I mean, we've taken it everywhere. It's amazing. It's the best. And I got this notice, and it said, you happen to live in a zip code where you have to register your alarm system now. And I was like, well, that's weird. And I said, okay.
that?
So they said you have to call your local police station so I did, and I felt horrible bothering the police in L.A. I said, I'm sorry to do this, but the website says I'm supposed to call. Is there something I'm supposed to do? He gave me the website. It's a shakedown for $50.
Yeah.
It doesn't provide anything else. You have to tell them that you have an alarm and give them $50. For what?
Well, listen, for what? We have a lot of unfunded
What do they claim it is?
pensions. Well, what they look,
there was nothing that said this is what you will get for your $50. It's just a fee.
We're kind of living in a. Well, what's going on is I always talk about those flyers. You know, like we'll clean any 3 rooms and an entry hall for $19.95, like professional carpet cleaning, except for. Our thing is $185 will clean any 3 rooms and entry hall. So it's already like up there.
Right.
But there's a limited, this city is limited. It's limited in that, as far as I can tell, people are leaving. They're sort of trickling over to Texas and New Mexico and other places. You know, Toyota, Nissan, a lot of big businesses are leaving. The pool... There's a fundamental problem. There's a pool where the city gets its money. That's us.
Right. We're the pool.
We're the ATM.
Our pool is sort of dwindling, and we're not drawing a lot of new folks in the pool. And they're expenses are growing. Like their nut is getting bigger and the pool is getting smaller. So we have to figure out new and creative ways to draw from the pool. And everything's on the table. I mean, it's just
apparently
everything is just a charge. Everything's just everything like it used to be.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. Like when I taught traffic school, I used to go to traffic school in order to save $105 or whatever. When I was poor and I got a speeding ticket and they'd go, would you like to go to traffic school or would you like to pay the fine? I didn't have car insurance, so that wasn't a factor. I went, I'll spend 8 hours sitting in a building across from the DMV in Van Nuys on a Saturday to save $107. Right. Like I'm not worth that. You know, I make $7 an hour. It pencils out.
I need $107. I don't need the 8 hours.
I don't need the Saturday. I'll probably just be spending money on Strohs.
Good point.
So I'm going to save myself some money.
You're making money by going to this class.
Right. Well, I could clone myself and really franchise. So I would elect to take traffic school to save money. And then at a certain point, I think when I was teaching traffic school, they figured out, wait a minute, why not just charge them for the full amount of the ticket and then charge them to go to traffic school as well? People want to get it off their insurance, so they're like, all right, we were leaving money on the table. Well, they weren't really leaving money on the table. They started off. Let me say something about plans in their inception. Plans in their inception aren't you being overly generous or leaving money on the table. Their inception is sort of the fairest point. Like the city's like, well, let's see. People could go to traffic. So look, well, there's an infraction. The infraction involves something that's allegedly dangerous. They were speeding in a whatever zone, or they unsafe lane change. So we would like people to cease doing that action. So we will say either you'll pay us $100 or you'll go to a place where you learn the rules of the road, and there'll be a punitive part and you'll be punished with your time. Right. And we'll do that. And we'll charge $17 to sign up for traffic school, or you can pay $110 or whatever. And everyone went, well, that sounds logical, and that seems
one or the other.
Equitable. I feel like that's about right. No one went, wait a minute, we're getting screwed. Nobody said that. They decided that. Yep. And by the way, they decided it based on what they wanted. So they all went, fine. And it was like saying to somebody, you want to split the apple? Yeah, you cut it, and I'll pick the half. Or we'll do it the other way. Either way, it'll be fair. But at some point, 30 years in, they went, how can we get more money out of this pool? It's a pool. And then they went, oh, why don't we now do this? It's not like we were getting gypped all these years. Right. You're now getting gouged. Yep. And every waking hour, they try to figure out ways to do that, in ways that aren't going to have people take to the streets and set pallets on fire in front of City Hall, but just get $50. You sign up. Why? You have an alarm? Why not a $50 one time? Whatever.
I thought get a $50 gift certificate for doing their job for them.
Right. So that's where we're at, and that's where we're going to be. And how can it be any different than that? It's just, it's going to keep growing. It's a government. It just it grows. It grows.
Speaking of which, to the point of lighting pallets in the street, and it keeps growing. One insidious thing that happens is the fines for these things get a little more every year. If they came out and said, we're going to start charging you $81 for parking too long at a meter, people would set pallets on fire in the streets. But started off as $28, and next thing you know, 12 years later, I think it's something like $81 now. It's in the neighborhood.
At least in Hollywood,
So and it's like that thing where it's like, we're just going to tack on the 0.5 percentage to the sales tax until we're done fixing the levy.
It's compound interest.
And just until we're done. Yeah. And then 28 months goes by, levy gets fixed, and you're like, what about that? That's just
the new normal.
That's just there now. So, yes, that's how it shall go.
The permatax?
And we shall try to slow down or retard that growth. I was listening to Beto O'Rourke apologize.
He's on an apology tour.
He's having to apologize. Well, white, he's rich. He made a joke about his wife. And it's such a, again, like we understand if the terrorists take hostages, we can't negotiate and pay the ransom because that's all that's going to do is get every camera crew into Crete abducted. Like, we understand. And we have a kind of thing which is as bad as it, as bad as it may be, as sweet as that bear is, you cannot feed it your picnic basket because it's just going to attract more bears. Yep. And you may think, oh, but look at the bear. He wants the food. Isn't it?
So cute.
What could harm?
Two little cubs.
We have a lot of what could be wrong with this? It begats. Mm-hmm. So you negotiate with Al Qaeda over their abduction of the CNN crew, and we get more crews abducted. Right. And you give the little snack to the bear, more bears show up. I'm now feeling this way with apologies, and we have to stop it because we used to apologize for big stuff. Now we apologize for anything someone else misunderstands.
Yep.
Correct.
So, by the way, if somebody misunderstands something, that's on them. That's not on you.
No, you took it the wrong way.
You're the person who's making a joke or making a comment that is misconstrued. It's fairly easy for people to misunderstand things or for you to be making a joke. The one that always makes me laugh is the one that's self-deprecating, where you're making a joke at your own expense and they want you to apologize for that.
To me?
Yeah. To yourself.
Right.
Apologize to yourself.
Being so hurtful.
Because there's this notion, and it's a slippery slope of when I was sitting at the table at the Quail Lodge with all the super rich white people talking about Duesenbergs, and I said, this is exactly what black people think we do all day long, and that one chick did that. No, okay, too much information, okay, all right, okay, and I was like, that's a joke. Okay, all right.
Stop making it worse.
You made your point, funny man.
I'm thinking, Max Patty, were you at that table when I did that?
I actually wasn't.
You were
He was
eating
on top of a
caviar.
pile of crab legs.
I was a little busy.
You couldn't hear because the amount of caviar you'd consumed in the last 71 minutes.
Coming out your ears?
Yeah, I was covered.
Slathered.
So, yes, you heard the word black person. That is true. But you didn't hear they're dirty and we're clean. You heard a joke about us.
Yeah, and by the way,
in that time you heard black person and you had it at our expense. Like Beto brought up his wife and made him the butt of the joke.
Okay, fine.
So, yes, he brought up his wife. And I know you guys heard him say something about his wife. So now we're all on high alert. Like, this, oh, look out. Someone made a wife joke.
They're boxing out. You ready for this?
By the way, what he did, you tell the joke and then Max Zapata has it.
So he's been going on these tours, and this is like he was in a coffee shop crowd. And he's
and let me say this quickly. Sorry, Max Patto. It's easy when you're out kind of making the rounds and people are kind of asking the same questions. And at some point you say, someone goes, what's it like raising boy-girl twins? You go, raising a girl's like raising 3 kids, raising boys like raising 1 old cat. So you go, and the room gets a laugh. And you kind of log it, like, that got a smile out of people. Yep. And the next thing you know, you're in the next town, and somebody raises their hand and go, what's it like raising? And you hearken back. Like you go, that got a chuckle last time I said it. So I think Beto's been doing this when someone asks him about his wife.
Yeah, this is a canned response that he's been doing. He's been getting laughs. And so they asked him about his wife, Amy, and he goes, she's in El Paso. She's raising our 3 kids, sometimes with my help.
Okay.
So he's making a joke about her doing all the work.
Yeah.
Basically.
Him not being as helpful.
And she's rich, too, by the way, or at least her family is. So it's not one of those jokes that I think the press was fine with it, but Lynette took the wrong way when I said, I work. And she went, I work, too. And I said, I bring home the bacon. And she said, I bring home the bacon, too. And I said, no, you bring home the bacos.
Oh.
I bring home the bacon. Yeah.
It's hurtful.
It's very true.
Very true.
Very true. Very true.
You should apologize. I feel bad for what you've done.
I do not. Well, don't argue with a comedian. I'm making a joke here. So anyway.
So why are they mad at Beto?
They're mad at Beto because he said something about his wife and they didn't.
That she works harder with the kids than he does.
It was not vetted or approved.
Yeah.
He did not get permission from the outrage crowd to say something about his wife. Now, my theory is these people don't really exist.
Right.
They don't really exist. I have a theory of basically like people that watch Rachel Maddow don't really care what she said, and the people who watch Tucker Carlson, they don't care what he said. We're creating this in-between zone. There's a lot of their fans are outraged over. I don't think Trump's fans are outraged over anything he says.
Not his fans.
I don't think Obama's fans are outraged over anything he ever said. So where's this third group?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like the Steelers are playing the Ravens. The Steelers are at Heinz Field at home. All right, there's some Steeler jerseys out there. There's some Ravens. Where's the third group of fans that's in that stadium? There's a large group of people in Section C. I don't think
Dolphins fans.
I don't think there is. I think it's pretty much just those two, and they're kind of rooting for each other's team.
Right.
I don't know who the group. They're people that like Beto, there's people that don't like Beto, but who's really upset?
You also give voice to this very fringy element of like the outrage, that who are these people, a very small percentage of people that claim to be outraged or claim to be upset over, like you're giving voice, by apologizing, you give voice to that very small minority.
Well, and I always said this when I did K-Rock and before, but as well, but he'd say, so I'd come on as Mr. Burcham. I'd do something. They'd get a letter sent to the GM about they're upset, some religious group or whatever it is. I'd say, okay, a couple of letters or one letter or whatever it is. So they go, all right, so don't talk about this or tone it down in that department. Fine. What about the overwhelming majority of people who laugh and who would like more of that? Yeah. So it's essentially saying, hey, I like a politician who shoots from the hip a little, tells a joke, seems to have a relaxed conversational, who's not monitoring his speech. Beto makes a joke about his wife. Funny. Good. I like that. So it's like somebody saying, oh, well, here's the restaurant. And then someone comes in and goes, I take umbrage with the lasagna, and they go, fine, we'll take it off the menu. It's like, well, then what about the next guy who likes lasagna? Why? Now it's off the menu.
Right. Why dictate to the minority?
There's nobody
whatever.
who's actually upset about this. We have Beto, I think, had to apologize, and now he's got to think really carefully every time he speaks, which is not really what you want when people are giving interviews or speaking. You want to know what they're thinking. You don't want them monitoring themselves. And since this was a harmless joke that was a 2 at best on the offensometer, Beto, since he got busted for the 2, is going to have to think about everything that comes out of his mouth that's over 1.75. My GPA in high school. Yeah. Sorry, here's the apology.
It's absolutely valid criticism, and it's constructive criticism. It has already made me a better candidate. Not only will I not say that again, but I'll be much more thoughtful going forward in the way that...
It's a joke.
And it wasn't... he wasn't offending his wife.
It was a mild joke.
But it wasn't... He wasn't taking a shot at his wife.
He was taking a shot at him being sort of a lazy dad.
Right.
Yes. Dads will do that all the time. I mean, it's a kind of... By the way, outrage, whoever's outraged over this, I have no idea who it is, but whoever's outraged over it, you then must have every single commercial made in the last 25 years taken off the air where the dad is sort of checked out and bumbling and watching TV and the mom's running around with the hamper and she's what about the Applebee's commercial from 10 minutes ago where the mom's like, she's a cardiologist, she's out running the dog at 6 a.m., she's getting the kids off to school, she's doing the Soul Cycle class,
she got dry cleaning,
she's high-fiving every black nurse in the tri-state area, then she gets it. What's for dinner at 7 o'clock after a 14-and-a-half-hour day and watching 3 kids die in her arms? Got the goofball husband who's hosting Wonderama at home. Well, what about that? I'm highly offended.
Yeah, apologize for that, Beto.
Apologize, Beto. Jesus Christ, Beto, don't apologize. The answer is shut up, fools. It's my wife. I'll say what I want. And you know that's a joke. And even if it's not a joke, get your panties out of your tuchus.
How difficult must your life be if you were truly upset or wanted an apology for Beto's, 2 of a joke? His dad joke, no pun intended. His dad joke.
who wanted this, Maxipata? I mean, that's the other thing, too. It's like it's the outrage mob, except for it's not the mob, and they don't really care.
I think just anecdotally, I could be wrong, but in terms of like a super right-wing conservative group of people and a super left-wing liberal group of people, it seems as though the left-wing group is going to monitor themselves and toss you out quicker. You know what I mean? Like, he misspoke. You know, he said something that, you know, his heart might have been in the right place, but his mouth might have fumbled even though it didn't. And that seems to be the group that goes after their own more in this situation.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is not making fun of your wife. It's not really Sean Hannity. It's not on his radar. This doesn't register to normal people as anything. You have to say something, say something against Israel or something like that. That's a nice right way, or the NRA or something like that.
CNN reported that the people that were complaining were the comments that he made triggered complaints from Democratic operatives and activists, many of them women, that God. Female candidates could never similarly joke about their roles raising their children.
I was thinking, please don't be a woman.
It's a weird. I feel like they. Well, first off, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of Kamala Harris. I don't know who her husband is, but she could probably make all the jokes she wanted. I don't think there'd be I don't think there'd be outrage.
I just had a thought. You know, primary politics can be pretty nasty. You remember, like, George W. Bush and John McCain with the robocalls about the illegitimate daughter, and people, and Hillary Clinton and Bernie. Like, it can be pretty dirty. I wouldn't be shocked if this was someone from an Elizabeth Warren camp or a Kamala Harris
from
camp.
Inside.
Yeah, kind of like, oh, this is the women. This is really this puts a disadvantage.
It's a zero burger. Yeah,
I agree,
maybe
but
that too.
But Beto, here's what I'm saying with Beto.
To plant those seeds.
I'm saying everyone. Tell everyone to blow you. We're moving on. Like, no apology
Way
necessary.
more offensive than the joke.
That's just worth to get upset about.
Yes, and you're puffing them up. They're now emboldened, invalidated, emboldened, and they're going to go after their next zero burger. They will go after their next, and also. People who want apologies from politicians, save it for the good stuff. Banging the 14-year-olds or whatever, anti-Semitic, whatever you said. Save the apologies for the good stuff. You get them apologizing, and they all just get lumped together. It's one big long wagon train of apology, and we don't even know which the real ones are anymore. I don't know. When Beto, I want to hear Beto one more time, because it's like he really came down on himself for zero. Read the comment one more time. Sorry. Max Bada, sorry.
Which comment? I'm sorry.
Read the statement that Beto. Read the joke.
The one that got in trouble.
The one I want you to give.
Oh, yeah. So they asked him about his wife, Amy, and he said that she was back at home raising their 3 children, sometimes with my help.
Yes. Okay. So what are we to think? He was. Well, first off, it's kind of true because he's out on the road stumping.
And Kamala Harris could make that joke.
Yeah, I'd say.
Or any female can. I'm saying Amy Klobuchar or whoever. They can make that joke.
I completely agree. I always think it's a
Dan's
false equivalency. Like, if that were a woman saying that, they wouldn't let you get away with it. Like,
that's
yes,
valid
they would.
A lot of the time, not here. Like that joke.
Could you absolutely see Sarah Palin making that joke? Yeah, she's the governor. She's running for office. Yeah. What's his name? Is back raising
Trigger.
It's self-deprecating, but it's also insanely accurate. If you are out on the campaign trail and you have young kids, then that's
your full-time job.
Physically what is going on. Yeah. You are somewhere other than home. Your kids are at home with your wife, and she is raising your kids for this period of time.
You're a traveling salesman.
Right.
You're on the road.
Sorry, the apology one more time, just because it makes me want to puke.
Yeah, it's absolutely valid criticism, and it's constructive criticism. It has already made me a better candidate. Not only will I not say that again, but I'll be much more thoughtful going forward in the way that I talk about our marriage, and also the way in which I acknowledge.
He's acknowledging his white privilege. I'll let him finish with his white privilege. Makes me laugh.
Of the criticism that I have enjoyed white privilege. Absolutely. Undeniable, as I've shared with others, and certainly became.
All right. So he's got privilege. All right. Now here's the thing. I've always say this, and I still mean it. The wife, it's her fault for the husband leaving the house with the ostrich cowboy boots. It's her fault. It's not his fault. It's her fault. And there's a two-way street here. The guys, the adult males, who nod when he's like, and I've become a better citizen and a better husband.
Good for you.
And I learned a lot. The nod.
And how?
Look, it drives me nuts. You gotta go. Hey, man, I don't know what you're apologizing
Snap
for.
out of it.
I opened a can of whoop ass on my bitch like 25 minutes before I took the stage. She's being medevaced to a hospital right now.
And she was happy.
Look, when the guy is apologizing for the joke that was self-deprecating in a Zero Burger, don't sit next to him and do a knowing nod like, oh, thank God.
This guy's really learned his lesson.
You found Jesus Christ on death row, and now the Padres walking you to the chair, but you've repented. No, you've done nothing. I'm an adult. I'm sitting next to you. I'm interviewing you, or we're doing a press. I'm just going to jump in and go, I don't know why they're offended by it, but I wouldn't apologize. Why is that? What? Now I'm going to get into trouble too?
And then
What's all the nodding?
You would have got another, okay. Everybody calm down.
All right. Anyway,
Can we say that? Can we say that?
Just look. I'm telling you, people. It's not like. Well, he apologized. Whew, everyone is satiated, and we'll never have to go down that road again. Oh no! We used to apologize for 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. Now we're apologizing for 2s, and even if the 2s are confusing, this isn't even technically a 2. This is a joke about him being sort of an absentee dad.
Yeah.
But we were at 8s, 9s, and 10s. We're now at 2s. We're seeing if we can trim it down to a 1.5, and this is just the very beginning of what he's going to have to apologize for. So let's just stop it and apologize when someone deserves. If somebody demands an apology, that does not mean you need to apologize.
The more you know.
I was going to say.
Thank you. All right, I'm not going to apologize about this. Third Love, Gina. Come on now. 70-plus sizes, more than other brands. We're talking bras, man.
Gina legit lit up.
I did. I
Signature.
can't
about
wait.
this.
They got half cup sizes. I say that cup is half full. I'm an optimist, man. Find your fit with Third Love's online Fit Finder. Might have to check that out in the wee hours of the night just to see how it works.
They also have like a what shape are you?
Oh.
So there's something to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's for us, not for you.
Gina's pear-shaped, as in, look at that pear.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Okay.
I want to apologize in advance. I want to apologize
You're a
in
better
advance.
podcaster.
They got the online Fit Finder, and you can order. You can try it on at home. No awkward fitting room experiences or fitting room experiences. Find your perfect fit in 60 seconds. Just answer a few simple questions. 100% fit guarantee. 60 days to wear it, wash it, test it. If you don't love it, I like this one. Third Love will wash it and donate it to a woman in need. So how about that? Third Love knows there's a perfect bra out there for everyone. So they're offering my listeners 15% off first order. Just go to thirdlove.com, spell it out, thirdlove.com/Adam. Find your perfect fitting bra, 15% off at purchase, man. All right, we got Harbinger on line 4. Hey, Jordan.
Hey.
Hey, man. What's going on?
Well, a lot of people have been discussing the idea that talented people have some kind of advantage. And I'm kind of sick of hearing about that, so I decided to look into the science behind it.
So give us an example, like someone who's, musically talented or comedically talented or has a great voice or talent with numbers
It's funny that you should bring up those two examples because music was the one that I started researching, but comedy was the one I thought of for the show because I guarantee you that there are tons of people that think, well, especially if they don't know you, well, Adam, he had some advantage. He's got a radio voice or something like this, or he's just naturally quick on his feet. I'm sure you've heard that. So, of course, the comedy thing comes easy for you. And music, even as far back when we look at examples like Mozart, it's just not true. There's a lot of people that would say, well, so-and-so is a genius, has perfect pitch. None of these things are really provable. What is provable is to show that a lot of people have actually worked on certain skills. And if they started early enough, they get so good at a young age that it looks like talent, but really it couldn't be anything further from the truth.
Well, I think I don't know. I always think of Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel is a funny guy, but he didn't have to do anything with his talent. He was 15. He liked watching David Letterman, and he liked comedy, like I like cars. But that cars don't make me money. I just like cars.
Far from it.
Yes, it cost me money, and he liked comedy. And then later on, when given a choice between, getting an engineering degree or something and getting on the local Phoenix radio station, I think he tried to do that. But, man, that guy's ability minus that guy's focus and work and effort and training and years, I would just be a funny guy bopping around the architect's office. Sorry, Jordan.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true. And I think a lot of people who are not, let's say, some sort of child or a young adult prodigy are getting deterred from attempting to learn something because they feel like they're too old, or they're convinced that they don't have a certain gene that is a prerequisite for success. And look, if you're not tall and you want to be in the NBA, yeah, you've got your work cut out for you. Obviously, that's going to be a problem. But science has sort of debunked a lot of the beliefs that you need to have certain genetics. Like, yeah, if you're a ballerina, you probably want to be really flexible and start training early. If you want to be in the NBA, you got to be tall. But barring those particular things, when it comes to things like music and comedy and things like that, a lot of it is training that we maybe don't even realize we're getting. Like I think you mentioned that Jimmy Kimmel used to watch a lot of comedy when he was younger. He was probably playing those scenarios over in his head, looking at things through a comedic lens. These types of things count, especially if you're otherwise intelligent, and they can sort of form the basis of your training.
Well, and not only that, but we spend a lot of time in our society, and I think wrongfully so. I think there's sort of, we do a couple of versions of it. You hear me rail against all that kind of like, you're black or you're a woman or you're Hispanic, you got a target on your back. We don't have even playing fields. Like, stop doing that to people, and then stop the other side of it too, where I go, I'm a carpenter, so you're just handy, right? Like, so you just grew up when your dad was in the garage and you guys were all handy together and stuff. It's like, no, I trained, I learned, I apprenticed, I learned this skill. And it's like, so you're handy? It's like, they try to kind of turn it into, yeah, I was born with a toolbox up my ass, and my dad, when I was 4 months old, he dragged me out to the garage and we dropped the tranny on the old Chevy and blah 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 transmission. Don't give me the look. Point is this: stop trying to kind of skim by it all the time or turn it into some God-given. And then other guys go, I'm not handy, but you're handy. Right. Like, no, I'm handy because I made myself handy, and you could be handy if you wanted to make yourself handy. It's lots of hours learning how this process works. Brian could have easily been a fine carpenter, and just as fine a carpenter as I am if he was dropped off on a construction site at 19 years of age and then spent 10 hours a day for the next 12 years doing that subject. I would speak German if my parents moved to Germany. It wouldn't be like, oh, I don't have a flair for a language. It'd just be, no, my parents moved to Strudeldorf when I was 6, and now I speak German. Like, why is it different than a language? Of course everyone recognizes you speak that language if you move there when you're young. You don't have to flair or gift for dialects or language. You just
It's got to be done.
Ingrained.
Right.
I think an offshoot of that, too, that I think about all the time is if a comedian or a musician or anyone all of a sudden becomes popular and now all of a sudden we know who they are, it's our knee-jerk for some reason to think, oh, they just, they just got all this luck and all this success yesterday. You don't know them. You don't know how hard they've been working.
Yes.
They didn't just appear yesterday because you just heard of them.
So the target on the back thing is an excuse not to do anything, and the touch by God is, by the other person touched by God, is the excuse. It's all an excuse for you not to do anything. And I don't like that. Stop thinking that way. Just if you want to do something, we live in a pretty good country to do it, and just like the language, you could learn that as well. Look, I made my first documentary film when I was 50. I never knew anything about making documentary films. Now I'm sort of quasi-expert at making documentary films. It started at 50. You can do it. You have to do it, though. Sorry, Jordan. I had to fluff myself
It makes
up.
sense. In fact, Gina, it's funny you should bring that up because I remember when you became a part of the Adam Carolla show, a couple friends of mine were like, who's this? She just shows up out of nowhere. And now she's
I told you never to tell that story.
A bunch of BS. And I remember saying, actually, I drove to her house one day
That's
at like 7 a.m. 5 years ago to do the other show she was running, which was like a podcast that I think you did before you went to your other job.
Yep, always.
And
Out
I
of
was like, she's been
Ryan
working on
Long's
this forever since you were probably learning. You had your learner's permit when Gina had made her own show to try to cut her teeth in this area and was doing radio. So it's like, just because you now what? She popped up in your Twitter feed, so now she exists for the first time in your timeline. Like,
Great
no,
example,
people
Jordan.
have been working on this.
Thank you.
I must say,
She's not going anywhere.
it doesn't do us any good to try to streamline everyone else's process to prosperity, or to announce that he was born on third and thought he hit a triple, or to always focus on like daddy's money and all that kind of stuff. Please.
It's dismissive.
Well, and it can be true, but there's plenty of people who are born to rich families who OD'd in their 22nd birthday. You know, it doesn't, just because your dad's rich doesn't mean you're going to be successful, or you're going to be sober, or you're going to have a happy marriage, or you're going to be a productive part of society. I mean, Paul Newman's son was dead at 26. He had one of the most successful dads in the world. And when you start looking at acting and salad dressing and racing and everything else, he got into a motorcycle accident. It's like a little something like with drugs. He kind of came out to Hollywood. He was going to kind of fast track it and got in with the wrong crowd. And so, okay, this guy had the most successful dad around for a 30-year period, but he never saw his 27th birthday, so it doesn't mean anything. And even if it does, if that's not your story, what do you care? It's like talking about people that were born during the Gilded Age. Right. Oh, they're so lucky. Well, but I mean, it's like
that may be true,
but you're not there, so you're here. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jordan. You got me
No,
excited.
I think that's a good point. It becomes an excuse process, and we look at like going back to your music example. We see people who are like, well, child prodigies like Mozart, he had perfect pitch. He could compose from a very early age. What people don't say is that, look, this guy's dad was a person who specialized in teaching music to children. And so when you look at other students of his, they also could compose at a young age. They also developed perfect pitch. And there's a lot of examples, and I was looking at the science behind this for the Jordan Harbinger show. There's a lot of science behind. There's a teacher that every single one of his students developed perfect pitch. And when you look at students elsewhere in the music world, it's like 1 in 1,000 people, it's 1 in every 10,000 people that develop that. And every single one of this guy's students developed that. So it does come down to training. Even things we think might be inborn, this isn't magical. It's almost always developed. Unless we're talking about something really blatant like height, flexibility, it's almost always any skill that looks like talent is probably just talent that has been, or is probably just a skill that's been developed so much that it looks easy. And the easier people make it look, like people who've been on the radio for 20 years or something, or doing comedy for 20 years, the easier we make it look, the more likely it is for people to say that it's inborn talent, because the gap between what they think they can achieve and what they're seeing in front of them is so enormous. But in the end of the day, it's just training and practice.
Well, let's look no further than Tom Brady. He will go down as the most successful quarterback in NFL history, and I do not know if anyone is going to eclipse any of his records. Certainly Super Bowl appearances and wins, and no one is going to, in this modern era, I believe, it's going to take 500 years of football before we see those kinds of numbers and
Sustained
that kind
excellence.
of consistency and excellence. Who started with less physically in a game that is everyone thinks is all physical? Who outworks? This guy's eating wheat germ right now and doing a push-up somewhere, and he'll be in the league until he's 45. I mean, look no further than Tom Brady. He's in the most competitive position, the most competitive league in the world, and he's excelling with way less physical ability than almost everyone else in the league, many others who are backups.
Or flamed out many
and
years
at the
ago.
college level.
Yep.
So, of course, it's his approach.
Yeah.
Of course. And, okay, well, that's it.
Brian can prove it.
Yeah,
Indeed.
it's not about his dad either.
He's a very nice man.
Thanks, Jordan Harbinger. The Jordan Harbinger Show, by the way, available on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One. And swing by jordanharbinger.com. Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you.
Harbinger of Success. Brought to you by Intuit.
Let's see. The guys from 311 are here. God, they must have seen him on Loveline in the 90s. I got a funny gay-sounding story.
Let's hear it.
Typically, it's a gay story.
I'll tell you what happened. First, I'll tell you about Intuit. Yeah, whether you're a small business owner, a mother, or a podcast host. Hey, I could be all three.
If you work hard enough, we believe.
The week is young. I could have some reassignment done. Anyway, they're all working toward a prosperous future. But prosperity doesn't mean the same thing to everyone. Maybe it's buying a home. Maybe it's starting a college fund or finally taking that trip to Hawaii. As you think about your vision of prosperity, you probably worry about the time and money and the obstacles. Intuit is here to give you the confidence to pursue your goals. Join the millions managing their finances with QuickBooks, TurboTax, or Mint. Everyone deserves a chance to prosper. Get started on your path today and get started now. Learn more at intuit.com, INTUIT.com. Powering prosperity. Intuit. This funny email exchange I sent. So I woke up this morning. I got an email this morning from Kevin Hench. Kevin Hench said, well, we're wrapping up season 7 of Last Man Standing. Me, you, and August should get together, have a conversation about projects down the road. And I saw that email, and then an email from Fast and Furious's Chris Morgan came in, and they're doing the whole spinning off
Oh,
The
Hobbs
Rock
and Shaw.
and Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
He's been in Japan and all over. He's the craziest, most sought after. He did Angry Birds on Netflix, whatever,
All the
Bird
hits.
Box, whatever. He's just crazy. He needs to clone himself. I mean, that guy's just literally going everywhere and writing everything.
Not enough Chris to go around.
There isn't. There is not. And so he writes, and it's like, I sent him an email a couple weeks ago, and he does a sorry I'm late. I'm back in town. I got a few days. You want to try to grab a drink over the weekend? This weekend will work, or maybe then early next week, and then I got to go to Japan again, but I think we can get a drink. I then think I then reply to Kevin Hench, and I say, because I was thinking about, I'd like to go to dinner with Kevin Hench, and I said, why don't we go to dinner on Saturday? And he wrote, like, okay. And then I wrote back, just us.
Okay.
Because I didn't want him to think we're having a business meeting with Mike August, and that's kind of what he proposed. And then I said, how about dinner? He probably would have known it was him and I, but I just said, just us. But I screwed up and sent that to Chris Morgan. So Chris Morgan said, how about we get a drink? And I went,
Up the
okay,
ante.
just us.
That's right.
Which
No
sort of
outside
weird and
distractions
gay.
like ladies.
How about
or
we get a
wives or
B&B for the weekend?
kids.
Just us.
Just us. And he's such a nice guy. I wrote back, like, of course, sure, it'll be just us. But I realized it's only just us. It's only been just us. It's a weird response
Yeah.
to, would you like to get a drink?
A Saturday in Carmel, just us.
And then there's that weird time, there's that window where you go, how long has he been living with this weird response that I sent back to him, my just us response? And
Did you stand by it, or did you say, oh, no, sorry?
I wrote, I said, why don't we go out Saturday afternoon? Sorry for the gay response. I'll explain it to you when I see you.
Oh.
I didn't know. But
That'll make him feel better.
Yeah, I would have been more confusing and less gay if I said Mike won't be with us, because that would have prompted a who's Mike.
Who's Mike?
But I just instead did the shorthand, and it was a perfect storm because Hench and I always go out to dinner. I would never say just us, but he started it with. We need a meeting with Mike, so
that's good.
We got that going. We got the
either way, Mike will be there for dinner.
August. We got the Banks bracket.
Yes.
Madness coming up. We got 311 out there. All right, why don't we take a quick break? We'll come back. We'll keep with Rich Banks in the brackets.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Yo, what's up? This is Louis from Savannah. Y'all, one of a few black fans calling in. And one thing I didn't realize until listening to this podcast, I've been listening now for about 5 years. I did not know white people didn't know how to play dominoes. I don't know. Maybe it's some southern white people that know how to play dominoes, but it cracked me up when I found out y'all just used to just stack them up, knock them over. Because we did that too as kids. They learn how to play bones. All right, I can teach y'all. Bye.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
That's my plan to heal the nation. You guys, black folk, you teach white folk how to play dominoes. We teach you how to play Connect 4 or Stratego.
We can come together on that.
And we just sort of come together.
It's good.
You know what I mean?
Game night.
Hey, someone's got some positive ideas. Well, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
It's a healing move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good first step.
Listen up, Beto.
That's right. You think black folk play Connect 4? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's our game. Oh. What's a wider game?
They play
Stratego?
They play Connect 4.
Connect 4. Oh, what's a wider game? Stratego or Connect 4? I'm going to let people vote on this. Stratego! Well, there's more white people in it.
Dated, right?
What's that?
Stratego's a bit dated. Has it even made anymore?
I don't think Stratego.
That's a pretty white game.
You got to find the Stratego commercial, but I don't know. I don't know why.
The fighting armies in Stratego, they're all white dudes.
Oh, they're all white dudes.
White dudes.
They're all white dudes. Yeah.
Would Damashek be in charge of teaching Connect 4?
I think Connect 4 spans cultures and generations.
Listen, Damashek would start screaming at the top of his lungs if he was here. It was 3 seasons of me hearing about how he was the Pennsylvania Connect 4 champion. And
play a little 4?
He doesn't play competitively anymore because it became too easy for him. So he sort of hung up his Connect 4 cleats, and now he'll just play and
off circuit.
He'll do like what a fighter would do, like for a promotional thing, you know,
like an exhibition.
I think
he'll do an exhibition to like raise money for kids or something.
But the last time he brought this up, this was his response.
7 times. No. At some point, after 3 years of that, somebody brought a Connect 4 game to the Man Show, and the writers all just had like a tournament upstairs. Mm-hmm. And at some point, they start filing down. It's like, what happened? John Kimmel beat Dave 3 out of 4 games, and so did Sal. It's like, and John was like, I didn't even play Connect 4. No. It was 3 years of him talking about being like it was not just a Connect 4 champion of Pittsburgh, but of
international.
It was international,
intergalactic,
and he got so tired of winning, he just hung it up. And there was just people, just like writers, who, like guys who were like, I played a little bit when I was in junior high. And
it's basically tic-tac-toe, right?
That's the last time I played, and they're beating Shaq upstairs.
That's great.
Yeah. No, he doesn't like that, but that's the report I was hearing. All right. We got a Stratego commercial. It's my favorite.
Stratego.
My neighbor had Stratego. Stratego!
Milton Bradley's terrific game of strategy for
could be the widest game in the world.
And exciting. You command captains, lieutenants, and colonels. You may capture an international spy. or be destroyed by a hidden bomb. Capture the enemy's flag and win the game. Stratego, a strategy game from Milton Bradley.
Yeah, we wouldn't. Our choice would be we couldn't buy anything new, so you could find a Stratego game at the thrift store, but it would smell mildewy, like the cardboard. Everything got mildewy back then, like something got wet.
Yeah.
And there was always like 5 pieces that were missing, so
play.
it was like, oh, I'm going to take this foil. All right, I'll tell you what, this we're going to use this toilet paper roll as a spy, although you'll probably be able to see it from across the room there, but... Yeah, but my neighbor had a Stratego game, Max.
I think we have our answer. Chris, do a Google image search for Stratego, and just look at all the people that are portrayed on the front of the game. They're of a certain demographic.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of white guys in royal, and
They all look
royal
like Tom
cars.
There's modern versions of Stratego.
Those are the modern versions.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's held the test of time. Listen. I brought up Stratego as it's the white man's game. Do not pretend like this is your show pony. You got a champion here.
What was the
Connect 4?
What was the baseball? Oh, Stratomatic.
Oh, I didn't even know that one.
My dad used to play Stratomatic. That was like it was a baseball, stats game or something like that.
All right, so we have the banks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome back to Banks Bracket Madness, where the matchups are tighter than Gina's bra strap.
All right.
Yesterday, in our clash of Christmas tunes, your votes gave the Porcelain Punisher Fondelier the early gift of advancing to the next round over Get Them Drunk This Christmas. In the miscellaneous matchup, no amount of unnecessary letters could help Faith overcome a song about cum. Coming on the tits moves ahead. Today's first matchup is in the Newsgirl Conference. And first up is one about OG Newsgirl Teresa that was deemed unplayable on terrestrial radio.
T was dating some horny chump. She gave the green light to her rump. Was hard to sit down after that night's festivities. After sweet talking her with his lies, a kosher wiener he supplied. Jew, got it in her back door. She took it in the trunk just like pre-op board-op Bill. Her crap or crack was his that night to fill. That night she had an ass full of her American Idol. Jew, took it in her back door.
Wow. Was that about Dunkelman?
Apparently.
Wow.
The last 5 seconds prove.
How many times has that been played publicly? A small handful.
This is it.
A small handful.
I saw pre-op board-op Bill over at the
car show.
Car show, yeah.
How's he doing?
He's great.
Was he raising turtles or something at one point? Like, didn't he have like a turtle farm or something?
He started collecting like 3-cylinder Subaru Justies. His stepdad has a huge Delahaye collection. Delahaye is like a French streamliner, sort of 1930s car. I think his dad has cars. His dad probably has a Delahaye that could be worth $15 million or something like that. And I think he has multiple Delahayes. Jesus. And then Bill collects Subaru Justies.
Okay.
So I don't know what the most expensive Delahaye is, and I don't know what Bill's dad is. These are all, I'm convinced all these people are just put on the planet to make me angry at my dad. Like, what's your dad collect? Dust? What other things does he collect? Whatever shit I'll pay for. My dad has Delahayes.
Remember when you made him come out as gayer?
It's National Coming Out Day.
It was National Coming Out Day, and I said, call your dad and tell him you're gay. And he's like, he already knows I'm gay. And I said, well, call him and tell him you're gayer. And he did.
Well.
I like Bill.
He took it well.
I see him all over the place. He's always in all the car stuff. There's a Delahaye that's worth $25 million.
Damn.
I wonder which one Bill's dad's. I wonder if we can figure out how big. He has a big collection of.
It's a beautiful car.
Damn it.
He's always at Pebble Beach when we go.
Bill is, but I don't know if it's. I think he's looking after his stepdad's cars or something. Anyway, I'm angry. All right, what's the next song?
Well, from our first newsgirl's sexual misadventures to our current ones, here's a tune about Gina.
Here she comes, lots of folks to meet. Showing up to a warehouse, might leave with some VD. Hey, it's an orgy, and Gina thought she'd check out the scene. And she forgot that the dudes there would want to get in her machine. And even though she showed up, she wasn't there to fuck. So Gina got her chest painted. It took a tanker truck. Hey, it's an orgy. Mustache dude in nothing but socks. She tried to shake the hand of a stranger and ended up stroking his cock. Hey, it's an orgy.
Wow.
I forgot about that. I tried to block it out.
That's why we do the madness.
So good. Good luck with that one, everybody. I can't, man.
May the most
strong.
humiliated woman win.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, next category.
Our second SmackDown for today is in the Old Man Conference, featuring our longer tenured male staffers, and feature two different kinds of pooping. First is pooping on points.
Shitting, 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 point shitting, 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 point shitting, 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 point shitting, 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 ball bride. Keep shitting, 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 on Adam's points he's shitting, keep on disagreeing, ball bride. Every day on the podcast, bullshit you broadcast, pulling opinions out your ass. All his points you're missing, and on his rant you're pissing. Please go back to improv class. Shut him down. Contradict. Contradict. Shut him down. Shut him down. Contradict. O'Brien. Cancel out. Disagree. Disagree. Cancel out. Cancel out. Disagree, Ball Bride.
It's the last part that brings it home.
It brings it home.
It's good stuff.
It's an instant classic for a reason.
You guys, the beauty of movies in your youth, and I don't know if this can happen when you get older, but when you're young, you have those little moments.
Well, it can definitely happen when you're older.
It can happen.
I'm shitting on your point.
I got it. That took me a second. Whenever I watch the Blues Brothers and Belushi goes and gets the whip, and the chick's like trying to light the cigarette. He just snaps it out.
They're in a cage.
It makes me laugh every single time that there's just some woman random inside the chicken wire cage smoking a cigarette. All right. It's strong, but can we beat it?
The second poopy parody is a better thing to have in your ear than what Ray put in Adam's.
He once peed on Adam and crapped in Kimball's desk. When it comes to feces, Adam's pal Ray's the best. Loves poop, flings poop. Loves poop, flings poop. Threw his duke on Adam. Yeah, Ray's a nape. Yeah, Ray's a nape. Yes, Ray's a nape.
We're posting all these songs to YouTube, by the way, and they're all excellent. They're all excellent. That when he took a shit in Jimmy's desk drawer, that was the greatest moment ever. Where it would have been a sitcom, but it would have had to been something like it would have been some sort of letter of I resign letter, and it turned out they gave you a raise, and you had to break back in and get the letter that really settled the hash of the boss. But in a sitcom sense, when I was telling Ray, hey, you don't get it. Jimmy's going to be pissed if he's shit in his desk. You got to get that shit out of his desk. He had to break into the bungalow before we all got there in the morning. Like, he didn't have keys or anything. He didn't have access. And Jimmy got there early. And I was having to explain to him, like, it was funny because when you grow up in insanity like I did, then everyone goes, that's funny, right? And I go, it's funny to us.
Yeah.
We're used to it. The regular civilians aren't they don't think this is funny. They're horrified.
Must have been a dark day for sitcom writers when they couldn't use the break in to steal the voicemail tape trope, because that was a strong one for about 10, 15 years.
Big one on Seinfeld.
It started off with that. It went to mail. It started with mail. Like, they had dropped that mail. I told Mr. Johnson what he could do with his job. He could shove it. We got to get that letter back.
Or like Office Space.
Yeah.
The whole place burned down.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Dawson.
Again, go to adamcarolla.com and vote for your favorites. And tune in tomorrow to find out which you're moving ahead to the next round of Banks Bracket Madness.
That was awesome.
Nick Hexum's out there from 311. Sold over 9 million records domestically. We'll talk to him about that as a new doc as well. First, I'll tell you about Castrol Edge. You can tweet us at Adam Carolla Show with your hashtag Castrol Challenge with your question. Castrol Edge, brought to you by Castrol Edge, and it's formulated with fluid titanium technology, reduces friction, maximizes engine performance. 3 times!
3 times, fool!
Stronger against viscosity breakdown, leaning full synthetics. You got a question, Max Spada?
Sure do. This is from Shibe Chris on Instagram, hashtag Castrol Challenge. Why no Ferraris?
I had a Ferrari Stradale 360, which is a killer car. Killer. Love that Stradale. I had that. And I had a 66 330 GT 2+2, another car I loved very much. The problem with expensive cars is when you happen upon another expensive car, you have to sell other cars, and it's a little random sometimes. It's not all about I need this car, I need that car, but I like Ferraris. I appreciate Ferraris. I also kind of feel like Ferraris are what it's more interesting to me to have cars that are a little further off the beaten path. Anyone who collects cars and has Ferraris, you go, I got it. But like having old Datsun race cars or something seems a little more pre-op, board-op Bill with his Subaru Justies rather than Dad with the Delahaye's. See what I did with the alliteration? But another 360 Stradale should be in my future one of these days, or a 355, which are nice as well.
You got no beef?
I got no beef with Ferrari, but I will tell you this. In a world where you don't know what's going on around you, per se, Ferrari has something called like Ferrari Financing or whatever. And if you're a Ferrari guy or not, they'll lend you a bunch of money to buy an old Ferrari at an auction or what have you.
Specifically.
Yeah, and so what happened was I wanted to buy Paul Newman's Porsche, and they would lend you money to buy a Porsche from Ferrari Financial because they still got paid. But word was I was a Lamborghini guy and didn't want to mess around with that.
Oh, you got boxed out.
It's kind of weird because you really, like that part where you go like, hey, how come I can't get a loan from these guys? You would never think in a million years. I would never think word out or whatever. I just think it's something. But I got known as the Lamborghini guy.
Lambo dude.
And now I'm just kind of the race car guy. But anyway, thank you, asker of question. Chris over there. Good Chris. And thank you, Castrol Edge, for that. All right, let's see. Nick Hexum is out there. Live shows, Fox Theater this Friday, Salute the Troops with Rob Riggle. He does not want to drive down there with me. I don't take that personally.
Oh.
He just said he'd drive himself.
No.
Are you going to drive with the Wu-Tang Clan instead?
I'll go with Snoop Dogg and Wu-Tang Clan. Cobb's coming up in San Francisco, Sacramento, Brea, Denver, all over the place. And Not Taco Bell material on iTunes and Amazon and Chassis with 2 S and Y. Thank you in advance for checking that out and leaving a nice review and all that good stuff. I'll tell you more about that at some later date. Nick Hexum out there from 311. We'll talk to him right after this.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, Fort Walton Beach, Florida. A 41-year-old man jumped off a bridge to avoid being arrested for stealing $10.38 worth of summer sausage. Definitely not a Jew.
Nick Hexum back in the studio, 311, of course, lead singer, guitar player, and there's tour dates coming up in Denver, and it's coming up in Morrison, Red Rocks. Oh, that in Colorado, I guess? That Red Rocks? Amphitheater? Yeah. Okay. I don't know Morrison as a town. Atlantic City, I do know that one. Got the word city in it. And that's a Vans Warped Tour.
Reunion. The bill is just ridiculous.
Who's all on that one?
Oh, you got to look it up. It's so many, but like Blink-182 and Offspring and just all the classics, all the new ones.
You know what's kind of nice? But, for the most part, people aren't ODing like they used to do. Like, it used to be like, well, you want to see Big Brother and the holding company, it's going to be minus Janis Joplin. Like, there's a lot of minus Jimi Hendrix and a lot of minus Jim Morrison, like a lot of minus. And it still happens, but so many of these guys have kept in like good health. Yeah. People are like physically fit. They're going out there putting a show on. They're not dragging a bar stool up there and going out in their three-wheeler and parking it in front of a microphone. Like, God, everyone's in like good shape. Everyone seems healthy and happy. Nice, right?
Yeah, it's a labor of love, and you gotta be ready to give your best performance. So it includes some training and stuff before the tour starts. Red
Rocks Amphitheater is an amazing place. I'm sure you guys have played there.
We're pretty much permanently booked for the 420 there every year. It's 419 actually, 420 Eve. With like Method Man and Red Man and some reggae bands, and that's a party.
Guys, Gene and Brian, had a chance to walk around Red Rocks?
I've never been. It's one of those bucket list destinations.
I'd love to.
It is up there with Yosemite in terms of like natural grandeur. Like you just go, wow. And I was there during the day, and my time there was spoiled by people exercising because it's 200,000 stairs to get from the stage up to the top of the Red Rocks where the parking lot is, and all these asswipes running up and down at all time. Where I'm trying to figure out a way to get. I'm like, how do we get a beer in here? And there's some assholes running up and down the stairs. But that's what people. It is breathtaking. I can't imagine what it's like on the stage looking out at night, especially.
Well, the air is thin, so you have to have an oxygen tank waiting for you. That's a real thing. But when we moved from Omaha to California in 1992, we stopped at Red Rocks, and like it's open during the day, and we stood on that stage and said, one day we're going to get back and rock this place. And now we played there like 13 times. So,
God, what a dream, and what a venue. And I think. People, I don't know. People know Colorado's nice and that kind of stuff, but it's not really on anyone's list. You want to go to Maui and you want to go to Mexico or wherever you want to go to. But man, put that on your list. There's a lot to see there, and it's magnificent. Go do the tour. We did the Coors Factory tour and like the whole thing, man. It's fun. The doc, which is out as so you can go get tickets at 311.com and find out, Max Pata, who else is on that Vans reunion tour.
Blink-182, Good Charlotte, Bowling for Soup, Real Big Fish, Dirty Heads, Andrew WK.
Andrew WK, that's right. It's like
he parties hard.
Didn't notice.
The doc, which I just saw the trailer for, and it looked really good, is coming soon to VOD and streaming series soon.
Yeah, we had a one-night showing in 240 theaters across the country, like an event, and it kind of turned into like a concert where everyone was like rocking out in the theaters, and we had a premiere here on 3/11 Day, which March 11th was last week. And we're going to get it out available for streaming in time for the summer tour because it's a lot of fun.
Where do people find the doc?
We haven't made that deal yet.
But we're going to.
Yes.
To be announced.
It's called, what's the doc titles.
Enlarged to Show Detail Part 3. This is our third
Part
home
3.
movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to make sure it wasn't screwed up. So the doc will keep an eye out for the live shows. If you're in Denver, if you're Red Rocks, if you're Atlantic City, it's all coming up, and you can go to get tickets at 311.com. Has the band been playing like nonstop since the late 80s, or did you guys take time off?
We've toured every summer except one. In 1998, we took a summer off, and we said, we don't like this. We basically decided to be more like the Dead, where we're a live band first, and we'll work in the albums around that. So every summer we tour, rain or shine, and it just keeps that relationship going with our fans, where we don't have to depend on whether we had a radio hit or anything like that. We just tour, and we are putting out a new album in time for this summer tour, though. So it's a big year for us.
You tell me. I've been thinking about this a lot, because I in a way, I don't think comedy and music and live performances are all so different. I was saying to someone earlier today, but I was thinking a little more personally, but just sort of in general, like the day of the holding deals and the TV sitcom deals and that kind of stuff, which used to be kind of the goal. So I'll do some stand-up, and then I'll get a sweet TV sitcom deal or a holding deal or development deal or whatever. It's like deals. And I think the new world order is come up with a good act, get a good following, and then go out and sell your ass door to door,
and keep doing it,
and
or
just
else you
keep
get
doing
rusty,
it.
Yeah,
right. And I think that's and also in a world now where they can go find something you put in a yearbook from 20 years ago and get you thrown off of your own sitcom that has your name on it, or what have you. Find a tweet that you put in 8 years ago. In that world, this one they can't take away from you. Mm-hmm. You have there's the fans, there's Red Rocks, and that's it. Like, you guys can do whatever you want.
Yeah, we were always about being grassroots, because the type of music we were making originally radio wouldn't touch, because when we first started out it was grunge only on the radio, and then with us, with the reggae and the hip hop and everything blended in, it took a while. So we said we're just going to be grassroots and do it through touring. So it was kind of like viral before that was an actual word. Did
you guys get a lot of pushback from, I don't know, the label or anybody when you decided not to tour that summer in '98? Because you were selling a lot of records back then. Probably wanted you on the road, selling tickets.
Earning.
Yeah, we were just burnt, though. Cause
I imagine you would be.
We used to just put our stuff in storage and not even have a home back in the mid-'90s. We would just live on the road. And finally we said we need to put roots down, get a house. And we all bought houses in Laurel Canyon and had to buy furniture.
What a crazy block that
summer.
was. Yeah.
Laurel Canyon's funny, at least the south side of Laurel Canyon, which you go over Mulholland. Traditionally, that's where all the rock stars lived. Yeah. That's where, like, all the bands living together, and like the old days of I'm trying to think
around
of
the Canyon store.
Bands.
I lived right up by the Canyon store for 15 years.
Yeah, people don't realize that the murders were up there. The Wonderland murders were right. That's Wonderland. It goes right down to the general store there.
One of the guys lived on Wonderland. Yep.
Is that the store that's connected to Fraiche, the restaurant? Pache, the restaurant? Pache?
Yeah.
It's a great restaurant.
Yeah. I have one recollection about that restaurant. When I was poor, and that was my 0 to 35, I took a girl on a date to that restaurant.
It's a nice restaurant.
When it served pizza, and I think it was previously a pizza place. But anyway, she ordered clams on her pizza, and not smoked oysters, just like literally just clams.
Crack them up and pour them on.
And I remember like sitting there going, but the pizza was like a durable good. Like, it was a big ticket item for me back then. And I was like, I know you're going to have one, maybe two slices of this thing. And she's like, I'll have clams. And I remember going, no, don't do that. And she's like, yeah, that's what I want. And I was like, but you're not really going to finish it. And then I'm going to take it home. And then I'm going to clams.
Nobody wants that.
Like raw clams on the pizza. And
it's gross.
It's grody.
It's weird.
She probably had garlic breath, too.
It's my only recollection. Yeah, it was a weird one.
Have we all only been there once? Because I've only been there once, and it was when I was very poor.
Many times.
I've been there once. Ordered pizza. She got clams, and that was it. You're at home. You delivered your daughters at home. Your children were born at home.
Yeah, I caught all 3 of my kids, but the second one we were all alone because it just happened so fast, and we thought based on how slow the first one was that we had plenty of time, so we just were like, oh, we'll call her a little later, and then all of a sudden my wife was like, I need to push, and so I get her on the phone, but it took her about a half an hour to get there, and the baby,
the doula or the nurse or the whatever, midwife, yeah.
And so the baby's head popped out, but then she wasn't coming any further. And I had remembered from the whole experience before that sometimes the collarbone will get caught, and that sometimes they have to go in there and break the collarbone to get the baby out. But so I kind of reached in and like rotated the baby, and then she just squirted out. But the cord was totally wrapped around her neck, and she was just blue, like dead baby. I was.
Are you in the bathtub at this point?
We're in the bathroom.
Sure.
Delivered on the toilet.
Yeah.
And then
water birth.
So I unwrapped the cord around her neck and just jiggle her for a second, and then I heard this. And it was like tears of joy. It was the most amazing experience.
Nick, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter. I had the exact same thought when my daughter was born. Hospital for us, but she came out. I guess this happens for all or most children, but I freaked out for a second because she came out like gray and like not moving. I was like, oh my God, she's dead.
Oh no,
and then
it
took about a second and a half later, like, she comes to, but I was not prepared for that. I was freaked out because the kid comes out gray. That's really weird.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't, the reason I can't fish is because I can't bait the hook. Like when they go, you take the minnow, you put the hook to its eye, and then it runs. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't get near it. I feel for the same reasons, but maybe with a different crew. I can't be around for home birthing. What is it's weird. Now I have genes that enable me to do all sorts of things that other people wouldn't do, but this I can't
Squeamish factor, yeah.
What is it?
I left it up to my wife. She wanted to do it at home just to have a really relaxing kind of spiritual experience, and she didn't want any medication because you have to do it completely med-free at home. There's no anesthetist at a home birth, so she's just hard. She's a badass.
Wow.
This happened to one of my friends she had her first child at home, and everything was great in one of the little kiddie pools, and put it in the living room, and everything was fantastic, and that's her vibe. And then the second baby, things were happening, and there were complications, and she's like, I want to have this baby at home. And thank God for the doula. The crunchy hippie granola doula says, listen to your baby. Your baby is telling you it wants to be born in a hospital. Let's go.
Yeah.
So you need to hear that every once in a while.
Yeah.
If I said to my wife, how do you want to do this? And she was like, at home, I'd be like, and what else? How about dentistry? Shall I do that root canal for you? We'll just get a folding chair over here. How about we let the pros handle it, okay? It's so weird, though. The hospital is such a... It's such a stress factory. It's like design. The sounds,
and sterile.
the smells, and like
loudspeakers.
And statistically, they do a lot of C-sections on Friday night because the doctors
right.
Get
Oh yeah, I was at the hospital causing all sorts of grief for my poor wife because we got like the hired like whatever the opposite of what Nick and his wife did. We got like the birthing suite where you like get your own room, you got your own whatever. And the nurse came in and I was using the bathroom in the birthing suite, and the nurse dressed me down for using the bathroom, explaining the bathroom was only for the patient. And then I did what I'm best at, which is, I think this is costing me a shit bucket of money. And so she gave the bathroom's just in. I was like, yeah, noted. And she's like, next time. I'm like, there will be no next time. So skedaddle. Like, what are you talking to me? I just I took a piss in the bathroom. And she was bitching at me, and I told her to buzz off. And she was like offended that I told her to buzz off. And then later on, my favorite answer, which is like when the other nurse came around, and I was like, what's Nurse Ratchet busting my chops for over here? I'm taking a piss in the bathroom. My wife's a bundle of nerves over there. We're getting into an argument in the hall because I used the bathroom that's attached to the birthing suite. And then this one. Oh, she does that to everyone. And I said, oh, how about we fire her ass then? If she comes into everyone who's pregnant and screws with the husbands and does it to everyone, how about, here's a suggestion, shit can that bitch.
She's known for being a pill.
And then later on, it was all about cut the umbilical cord, and I didn't want to do it.
Did you do it?
Oh.
He chewed through it.
It's everything that's wrong with our society. First things first. You're going to want to cut that umbilical cord. No, I don't.
You're going to regret it.
You're going to regret it. I have this. By the way, I'm greatly calibrated for things I will regret and not regret. And I've never regretted anything that anyone told me I was going to regret and vice versa. So, no, I will not regret this, just like everyone who came before me didn't regret it. So I will not regret this. And they said, oh, no, you're going to want to do it. And I was like, I absolutely will not want to do it. And what if I screw up? Like I'm not qualified for this. It's like saying, hey, we're flying a 747. We need another guy in the cockpit who knows nothing about aeronauticals. Just kind of stumble around and look at, help out.
Flip the switches.
Yeah, grab the yoke. Go ahead, have a shot. Take a shot at the yoke. Like, no, you don't need me. I'll be on one of the jumper seats. I'll be going deadheading over here like Tom Hanks in that movie where he's trapped on the island there. Castaway. I'll be over here. So they were like, you got to do it. And I was like, I don't want to do it. And so I didn't. And then at some point, they removed the kid, handed me scissors, and told me to do it sort of in another spot. Yeah, posthumously. Ceremoniously. Yeah, it was like...
The ribbon.
Yeah, but the ribbon was being held by two guys.
Scissors.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this not has anything... First off, work this into that conversation where you want me to cut the umbilical cord. That's purely ceremonial.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you must have had to really do it, right?
Well, we didn't know what to do about the umbilical cord, but fortunately we just waited.
They're still connected.
What happened?
Well, it would actually fall off, but we just waited for the midwife, got there a few minutes later, and checked us out. Everything was totally fine, and we ate pancakes and stayed in bed.
Now Nick's a midwife.
You should have done.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the new thing, though, is they leave it for a while longer. The cord blood, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
That's like the new thing now.
You should have done.
Clip it right away.
You shouldn't have called the midwife. You should have called a plumber and told him you needed a router service, and it was emergency, and just shut the door and just be quiet. And just go, yeah, it's all backed up. And just sling the door open and just to get the guy's reaction. You know what I mean? That'd be awesome.
That'd be fun.
Blood everywhere, kid on the ground, flailing about, cord.
The other thing,
flopping or whatever it does.
The other thing that's a thing, I don't know if Christy did it, but was there any making the placenta into a powder and the capsules or the smoothies or?
Yep, and you save the cord blood because it's very rich in stem cells in case you need it later for medical treatments.
Right.
We did all that stuff.
Wow.
Is it at a bank and it's like?
Yeah.
Do you put it somewhere and it's like
special fridge or freezer somewhere, and you got to pay each year for them to save it for you. But if the kid gets leukemia or something where they need stem cells, you're happy to have it.
I think we're doing that. And Max, make a note to cancel that. I want to get the MLB package this year. And,
that's fair.
It's $189 a month, and it's got.
Someone's gotta go.
I can't do both ways.
You get the out of market games though.
Yeah, that's what they'll understand. On the off chance something happens. There's a lot of saving. I think they do that with film and wedding dresses.
Oh, yeah? Put it in like a fur storage.
There's like a professional storage of everything.
God love them.
Absolutely.
There's going to be a whole Jurassic World out here, man. I mean, there's going to be a new 311 100 years from now. Like, there's, we'll definitely be able to like make new people, right?
Yeah, we're rich in stem cells.
Yeah. Now the question is what? But they're not going to be the same person. Like that story of the ox. The guy had. I'll screw the story up a little, but a guy had a big Brahma bull, and it was like his prize Brahma bull, and it was like a trophy winning or blue ribbon winning or whatever Brahma bull, and the guys from like I don't know University of Texas or something came out to clone the bull, and they cloned the bull, And the bull died, the one, the award-winning one that was like the guy's best friend, like the rancher's best friend. And they had the new one, and they looked exactly the same. But the new one kept goring him, like kept attacking him with his giant horns. And he is not like he put together a couple of good months, and they think they were buddies again, and they looked exactly the same and everything. And at some point, boom, right in the abdomen with that horn.
Well, think how many factors besides your DNA, which they can clone, make up who you are. You know what I mean? How you were raised. A cold you got at age 1, could have sent you on a different trajectory than you didn't get.
I get it, but with Brahma bulls and like the same guy.
Yeah.
There's a very good Black Mirror episode about this. I highly recommend it.
I think he tore his nutsack at some point. Well, sounds horrible, but I'm saying it's like the Brahma bulls.
He tore the bull's nutsack? He tore that's a sick vengeance.
The Brahma bull has huge horns, and he just like turned it on the guy. And I guess he's going for the middle, right?
Yeah.
Makes more sense. All right, Nick, hang out. We'll do some news. I want to thank, let me take care of Bet Online. There you go. BetOnline.ag, hashtag Sportsnet brackets, March Madness and March Money here at Podcast One Sportsnet. We're competing against each other at hashtag Sportsnet bracket presented by our exclusive partners. BetOnline.ag. You can sign up today for a free account at BetOnline.ag with the promo code Podcast1 for 50% welcome bonus. Once you're signed up, fill out your brackets online. Deadline is tonight at midnight each week. The Podcast One Sportsnet show that picks the most games correctly will give listeners money in their BetOnline.ag account. So even if your brackets get busted early, the fun will continue for weeks and weeks, and your chance to win cash is right here. March Madness, don't miss out. Tonight, Wednesday, midnight, it's the deadline. BetOnline.ag. Don't forget the promo code Podcast1 and have some fun, man. All right, Gina, let's do a little news.
Let's do it.
Give me the news with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad. Trouble in the Middle East. Celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, daytime personality Wendy Williams got candid with her viewers on Tuesday, revealing in an emotional segment on her talk show about where she's been living. So after speaking about the Hunter Foundation, that's a nonprofit that Williams co-founded with her husband, Kevin Hunter, to provide rehabilitation and drug use education, Williams revealed that she's been working with some struggles of her own. I'll just play the clip before we go on.
I hope this doesn't make me like her.
After I finish my appointments, seeing my brothers and sisters and, breaking bread, I am driven by my 24-hour sober coach back to a home that I live in here in the in the tri-state with a bunch of smelly boys who've become my family.
The microphone's a prop.
They hog the TV and watch soccer.
Soccer?
And we talk
what kind of
and
junkies
read
are those?
and talk and read, and then I get bored with them. Doors locked by 10 p.m. Lights out by 10 p.m. So I go to my room, and I stare at the ceiling, and I fall asleep to wake up to come back here to see you. So that is my truth.
What was her... She had a drug of choice? We don't know?
She talked briefly and sort of vaguely about having struggled with cocaine addiction in the past, but that she didn't say, and that's why I live in a halfway house or sober living or whatever. But she did allude to that.
I thought of a way I could serve our community with Wendy Williams. All right, you know my move with the dudes where I go, we put that big sign out front of the Coliseum that says free cockfight for Raiders fans, and every guy who enters, we throw a net on them and we arrest them because they're deadbeat dads, they're smuggling drugs, they're the worst people. They're all criminals. You have to be a criminal, right? We do it at noon on a Wednesday. Anyone who walks in,
if you're free,
boom.
Yeah.
Anyone who attends a taping of a Wendy Williams. I mean, I've done that show. It's the middle of the day.
You've attended a taping.
It's the middle of the week. I was on the happy side of the badge, my friend. I was not on the perp side. You understand?
Right.
I
think
swear
those
to God,
women, there's something wrong with
they
them?
must roll at like 10 in the morning. They go from like 10 to 11:30 or something. Middle of the week, middle of the day. That place is full.
It's packed.
Some kids being neglected or latchkeyed. Someone's not paying their taxes. Someone's not doing something.
Right.
Someone's on the dole. Someone needs to get to work. Like, I'm just saying, I'll do the same thing with the fellas as I do with the ladies. I'm trying to be even-handed here.
Right.
The cockfight's for the ladies. The Wendy Williams live taping is for the ladies.
Round them up.
Round them up.
Yeah, it's a good
Something's
idea.
going on. You guys need to be somewhere doing something. Look, maybe you don't have a job, fine. You volunteer at the school.
Yeah. PTA.
Yeah, hit the hash house and
Yeah.
start scooping out the slop for the kids. Anything but this. Something's
Yeah.
going on
You shouldn't
here.
have that kind of free time.
No, I want to know who's underwriting you're hanging out all day with Wendy Williams. Anyone who attends any daytime audience. Sorry, Ellen. You've made the list,
Yep,
too.
you're on the
I want to know who's there.
Oh, no.
That's
There he
me.
is. That
guy.
That's me.
Dress for success.
Yeah.
She made fun of me. She made fun of me and bring dress. She lashed out. All right.
Because you weren't
I
in
don't
your
wanna
Sunday
watch her.
finery?
She said something.
lumberjack.
She said something like he couldn't
think
dress
she
like
did
a
say
slob or
lumberjack.
something.
Yeah, she said she did this after show video and she goes, "You all keep asking me who's my worst guest. Well, now you know. It's Adam Carolla."
Oh.
That was the cocaine talking.
Yeah,
Take that.
Yeah, but she said that she didn't like the way you dressed. It looked like you didn't care about coming on her show.
Does that get you into the worst guest?
She's not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I like Nick, but he was wearing a cotton tee on my podcast, so
He's out.
he's out.
Clothes make the man.
How's that qualify you for worst guest?
Now you know.
There's more.
It's daytime. It's morning. What time do they tape? I remember being there at like 10 in the morning. Anyway, she'll be missed.
I know.
Or something.
I mean, she's still here.
She's going to rehab.
Yeah.
Let's arrest everyone in the audience. I want to go through everyone in the audience and find out what the deal is. You're taking any money from the government. I'm not paying you to go watch Wendy Williams. You go look for a job.
That could be your job. They do that sometimes. They give you $8 an hour to sit in the
All
audience.
right.
or-
Well, if you're getting paid,
You're out.
you can
good.
stay.
but I need to see paperwork.
Yeah.
Is what I'm
I see a
saying.
pay stub.
I need a recent pay stub.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember.
What percentage of her audience is getting something from the government? Could be cheese.
Look it up, Chris.
Look it up. I need that answer for the show's over.
Reach out
I
to
got it in the mid 60s. Sorry, guys.
And they're usually in their mid-60s.
That's right.
I have a little bit more of her complaints if you want to hear them.
Oh, let's hear.
that'd be great.
All right. Well, what she did was she posted this after video. It's taken down off YouTube, but I remember it.
She sped it up.
And she
we
sped it
down.
up. Well, I have a transcription of somebody who transcribed the sped up version. And it goes like this. And you know what? If at least if you're going to throw something on, like you're going to, change the oil in your Studebaker, that you would at least bring it with. Hold on, I'm out of breath and trying to curse him out at the same time. I mean, at least if you're going to dress like a bum to come to a daytime talk show, your attitude wouldn't be so ill-mannered. I mean, just from the top of the show, and I wanted to like him. I wanted to like him, and I thought that I would. But I don't like him, and he's not our kind of people. And how dare him tell me that the white man in the audience wasn't my kind of, and then it was indiscernible.
Oh.
What was he expecting to see when he came out here? The Soul Train line? Oh, I get it, because I'm a black woman. The people who watch my show and make an effort to come to the audience are supposed to be only black people? Oh, no, I get it. If you're anything but a black woman, you're supposed to be a gay man. Oh, I get it. Listen, let me tell you why. I'm sorry. Why am I mad at you? You know our audience is everybody. Hetero, homo, old, young, black, white, Indian. I mean, our audience is everybody. That's how you build success. You can't, Obama didn't win just by and then just cut off there.
Oy.
Wow.
So, yeah, she's went on this long-winded rant.
Could have been drug fueled.
Were you grumpy that day? Doesn't she know that's your stick?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my thing. Grumpy dude.
You guys settled your hash, though, right? Like
She set up like a fruit basket or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
and she took the video down.
Yeah, I'm not. I wore a shirt. It wasn't tucked in. That's true.
I never tuck.
I do feel like
One tuck
daytime
today.
TV
You're
is
not offended.
Daytime TV is a little more casual than the
Yeah.
nighttime circuit. Wore jeans.
Sure, it's pressed.
We got along fine. Made some jokes. It didn't strike me as anything out of the ordinary at all. Like
A lot of her fan blogs said we didn't think it was as bad as she's saying.
I didn't walk off stage and go, "Oh boy, that was a
Never do
rough
that
outing."
again.
Yeah, but you never know what kind of mood
All right.
gals are in. That's why they shouldn't have TV shows because they're the huge
Unpredictable,
swings.
yeah.
Case in point.
Conan would never do this.
No.
Sorry, guys.
Well, from not to hot, and here comes Honey Boo Boo star Mama June Shannon has been arrested for possession of crack cocaine following a domestic dispute with her boyfriend at a gas station, according to TMZ. So Mama June and her boyfriend Gino...
Not here, I'm carrying crack.
...were nabbed a few days ago after getting into a confrontation at an Alabama gas station. June was charged with felony possession of a controlled substance. Gino got slapped with the same charge as well as domestic violence. I have the audio of a conversation between Mama June and the tow truck driver after she was released and trying to get her car to impound. This whole clip is magical, but I trimmed it down a bit. So here she is telling him about how she can't find any of her stuff, including her license and her boyfriend's license. Listen closely because she kind of goes off on a rant.
Somebody stole your stuff?
No. I just think goddamn because he was drunk. Goddamn. It got misplaced. It's somewhere. And we're finding it.
What happened to y'all, man? I mean, how y'all get caught into a ski?
We was goddamn coming. We goddamn.
You might well be straight up with me now.
No, I'm being straight up. Like, he goddamn. It's a DUI, dude.
He got a DUI?
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, he got a DUI?
Yeah.
They poured you all over?
Yeah, we were sitting in the damn parking lot and goddamn a white damn cop car came behind us from ski and goddamn they came and got us.
I think we got a new leader in the clubhouse for Definitely Not a Jew in
right.
the tandem division. we usually go solo here, but tandem. Wow.
Subtitles for
whenever you're stalling for what you're trying to think of, you say like or you know what I mean. Goddamn usually doesn't make it into the lexicon.
Well, it does now.
I like it. Can we move forward?
Yes.
Okay. The National Enquirer reportedly paid the brother of Lauren Sanchez $200,000 to leak the racy photos of her boyfriend, Jeff Bezos. That's now being confirmed by USA Today. So Michael Sanchez has repeatedly denied leaking the photos, saying that his sister often shared videos or pictures with girlgirlfriends. Maybe
Much like the Brahma bull that attacked the owner. They're never the brother, the sister. There's always one. There's only one.
No.
Yeah. I talked to my sister earlier today.
How'd that go?
She understands how
Did you try
it works.
to gore your testicles?
There's really only one of us can be successful, and I think it's been established.
Okay.
She got it.
The Wall Street Journal reports that the tabloid
It was unspoken, but she understood.
Yeah, no, I get it. They paid him $200,000 for the photos and other text messages. Then the Enquirer published the photos as part of the 11-page story just days after Bezos and his wife announced their split.
You probably would have done it for free.
Yeah, this is by far more than they pay in general.
There's a couple angles, and I feel like the brothers, the sisters, the family members,
Meghan Markle's dad.
Yeah, right. Or the friends from back in the day. They pick this angle, and the angle is I'm going to get a quick score off of this instead of the marathon angle, which is my sis just married the richest guy on the planet. I'm going to start the slow con, which I'm going to start ingratiating like. Hey, that yacht looks like it could use a cleaning.
Use a polishing?
Yeah, why don't we get some of my Brasso out and hit it with my microfiber cloth? Oh, no, well, please, put your wallet away.
Your money's
put
no
it
good
away.
here.
Your money's no good here. Start with that. And then, those little conversations where the guy's like, they're in bed, and he's like, hey, your brother, I like that guy. And you go online, you figure out Bezos' team, you show up wearing a windbreaker. They're like, oh, Warriors fan.
Wow, what a coincidence.
Get the hell out of here. No, yeah, we're from Van Nuys, but from back in the day. George Gervin over there. The
Philadelphia Warriors. My dad's from Philly.
Yeah. Anyway, how's the shine look on the railing of the yacht? Not too shabby, huh?
Yeah, pretty good.
Took the liberty.
Yeah. 2 coats.
Yeah. Go for that and just start slowly getting kissed into the whole world.
Yeah. And we're talking wills, we're talking trust. This is $200,000.
$200,000 in this day and age, that's gonna you buy yourself like, oh, I'm gonna get a Sea-Doo and a quad runner, and now taxes take up the rest, and you take one Maui vacation and you're back to where you were.
Yeah. You have no family.
Yeah, that's right.
Well. Here's someone who does not need any money from anybody. Los Angeles Angels star Mike Trout was expected to become a free agent after 2020 and then likely sign the biggest contract ever, but he won't have to wait so long as the 2-time MVP has reportedly reached an enormous deal to stay with the Angels.
This is one of those moves where Mike Trout's like a great athlete. But if he decided to go to, and probably played football in high school and probably played football in college maybe or whatever, and if you decided to go that route, you'd be
would have been successful to some degree.
Yeah, making a little over the league minimum as fullback on the Steelers, but not cashing
Not like this.
major checks and no concussion protocol
Right.
either.
Well, this is they have agreed to a 12-year deal worth more than $430 million. He's 27 years old. He may arguably be the best player in baseball. He's going to earn around $36 million a year.
Hold on, Chris Carolla's calling into the show. $400 million for hitting a ball with a stick.
Running in some grass.
Do you know how much school teachers make in Africa?
How much?
They have to pay.
Oh my God, it's going the wrong
get
way.
AIDS.
Oh
Do you
my God.
understand?
Well, these guys are the best at
And
what
they
they
get
do.
What do you do with 400 million? What do you need? What else do you need? How big a house can you live in? How many cars? You think you can drive 5 cars at once?
No, I don't.
No. You can't. Do you know how much pediatricians get paid in Haiti?
How much?
They pay.
God, when you put it that way. I mean, I thought these guys were the best at what they
To
do, and they earn
contract
that money.
malaria.
Oh, God. Now I feel terrible.
Many of the school teachers at LA Unified have to buy their own supplies because the school doesn't have money. And he's getting $400 million.
430.
400. Well, that's even more. To hit a ball
So
with
you are
a
a teacher.
stick. Okay? Do you think that's fair?
Well, not after this conversation.
And you know how many teachers' salaries would be paid with $430 million? How
many?
Well, I don't know because I went to LA Unified and I had those fucking dumb teachers. So, but
That had to pay to work there?
but symbolically,
Right.
a boatload.
Yeah.
A boatload.
Mike Trout's a
She
devil.
makes good points.
Yeah.
So this is the largest contract in sports history, not just baseball.
Wow.
In sports history, they're reporting. So let's stay on the money tip for a second. The documentaries that popped up after the Fire Festival showed this disastrous attempt.
You know what he
Yeah.
should do? He's got to go on a Clubhouse Starbucks run.
Starbucks
It'd be nice.
And then when he comes back, he's got to really earnestly go, okay, that was, you didn't, you got
the extra shot of espresso. That's $4.30.
Yeah. I mean, I'd buy, collectively, that's almost 30. It's almost $40.
He looks at the receipt. And where are you? Let's macchiato.
the principle of the thing.
Macchiato. That's
Right. And then there's the tip.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna spread out over 28 of you, so don't worry about that. Yeah. It's got to go on a very earnest run to Starbucks.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So the Fire Festival, we've all seen the documentaries.
yes.
It left a lot of people scammed. It left event planner Billy McFarland owing $26 million.
I am up there, the Fire Festival and the kids on the crew team at USC. I'm as equally as unupset over the outcome of both of these things. Like, I am not outraged at all.
Oh,
I just figured it's just rich people kind of scamming or
Everyone
getting
who didn't go
scammed
thought it
or-
was hilarious.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh, yeah, nobody's outraged on anybody's behalf.
Good.
It's quite hilarious, actually.
Except for the poor vendors on this, but her, the one
she
that was
got-
featured, she got $225,000 from GoFundMe. I mean, people donating, so that was wonderful. So now, according to uprocks.com, in an attempt to pay off some of that debt, official merchandise from the festival will be auctioned off. So after McFarland's sentencing, during which he was given 6 years in prison, his lawyer turned over, quote, 2 large boxes containing fire-branded T-shirts, sweatshirts, shorts, all kinds
Get your
of clothes.
T-shirt for $350,000.
Intended for the Fire Festival. There's no word on when the auction will take place or what the merch looks like, but they're hoping to sell this off to start paying off some of that debt. 2 boxes worth.
Yeah, I only saw the one. I think I saw the Netflix one. It struck me as they got way over their skis, and at a certain point, you have to tap out, and they wouldn't. They wouldn't
You
tap.
wouldn't budge.
They would not tap out.
Remember what he tried to make his friend do for water?
Oh yeah, that guy was going to blow that guy.
I still think that was misunderstood on his part.
But by the way, that guy, he thought that was going to ruin his career by telling that story. Now he's more popular than ever. He's very popular.
Among a certain communities, very popular.
He's a very prominent, apparently, event planner in LA, and the phone can't stop ringing now. Good for him. Because now you know how far he'll go to get your party done right.
I got some water for him.
Was 311 ever contacted for a Fire Festival?
No, but I know the guys in Blink 182, and they were mortified to have to pull the plug. They pulled the plug before, a few weeks before, because they knew it was just not coming together right. But that show gave me a lot of anxiety. As somebody that we put on events like that all the time, and to see that astonishment, the disbelief when people showed up, it was like, that's like my worst nightmare, is to go out on stage and I'm not ready. Something I forgot to put on pants, whatever it is.
You're staring into a sea of FEMA tents.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Ja Rule will probably get out of this one.
Yeah,
which
doesn't seem too
is
scarred.
not fair.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. But I think we'll give him a cultural pass. Let me tell you about Geico. Everyone's got the to-do list. How about you save hundreds of dollars in your car insurance? You don't have to go anywhere. Just go to geico.com. 15 minutes, you could be saving 15% or more on your auto insurance. You take that extra money and you put it in your pocket. Go to geico.com, spend a couple of minutes, and find out just how much you could be saving at Geico. That is geico.com. All right, Gina, what else?
Okay, well, while the estates of Ronnie James Dio, Roy Orbison, Frank Zappa, they cashed in on hologram tours of their late loved ones, Steve Van Zandt, who's very much alive, has already embraced his hologram. So Van Zandt's hologram is in the New Jersey...
Dio was Rainbow and Dio, right? So he had Dio the band and Rainbow the band.
Cashed in twice.
Mm-hmm.
Van Zandt's hologram is in the New Jersey Hall of Fame exhibit in Terminal A of Newark Airport.
Oh, between the hologram and the DNA and the umbilical cord,
yep.
we're set.
We don't need any of you.
No, we're all good.
Van Zandt isn't the only living artist doing this, by the way. At the airport, there's this exhibit, a hologram of Grammy-winning musician Wyclef Jean has been welcoming travelers to the airport for quite a while now. So here's what you might see if you happen into the New Jersey airport.
We're going to get to some place where somebody attacks Wyclef, and then it's a hate crime, but he attacked his hologram, so it's not really a hate crime.
Yeah.
But the person didn't know it wasn't him. Like, we're going to get in this virtual crime world as well.
This is very Minority Report.
Here we go. Oh, we have the hologram?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, adversity is a constant in life. We still, we still have it. We everything I try to do seems to have some kind of conflict for whatever reason. Right now, I started my radio show. Nobody wanted it. They said, you can't do all 60 years of rock and roll in one place. No one's going to listen to that.
Where do we see this?
At the Newark Airport.
So,
really?
That took
Greeting
a year
people as they
to get going.
get off the plane.
Now we're in 100 countries.
Let's talk about adversity,
words.
and now you're going to get into a security line. Have fun getting through it. I rock and rolled through 50 years of tough times. The next 3 minutes of your life is going to suck.
A lot of good holograms out of work.
I like Dawson's version.
Shouldn't he be talking to us about throwing away our bottled water? Why is he talking to us about adversity?
It's the Hall of Fame exhibit at the airport. That's what he wants to talk. That was the most exciting clip they had.
That's the most New Jersey thing ever, to have your Hall of Fame in the airport.
Yeah, I want to hear about the Sopranos episode that got away, or
yes.
the one that didn't air, or something like that.
Yeah,
talking about adversity.
Or when Bruce was mean to him.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Do you remember? I think it might have been the first Netflix original series, Lilyhammer, that starred him. It was a gangster in Norway.
Oh, I remember that one.
Said. Yeah, it was basically Sopranos in Norway. Not
right.
quite the success of The Sopranos.
Let me do one more here. Castrol Edge, stronger under pressure. Engines can lose up to 10% of horsepower and efficiency. Due to friction, Castrol Edge with fluid titanium transforms, under pressure to keep the metal parts from rubbing on each other. It's 3 times.
3 times, fool.
Stronger than leading full synthetic against viscosity breakdown. And they've done a test, and it has been confirmed. Castrol Edge formulated in ways to keep keep outperforming and exceed even the highest industry standards. All right, let's do one more.
All right. Well, Fox News reports that cross-country flight from San Francisco to New York was forced to make a bathroom pit stop in Chicago. The American Airlines flight took off Monday morning, and after it had reached its cruising altitude, the crew learned that passengers who had to go to the bathroom couldn't because the toilets weren't working. So the pilot decided they had to land. The plane sat on the tarmac for 45 minutes.
That to me just
working.
means the pilot had to take a dump. That's what that's saying to me.
Really?
I got to say, it's a little... we got to figure this one out because, like, we went to Dallas last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we all have our schedule, right? You get up at 8 in the morning, you have a cup of coffee, you answer a couple of tweets, you head into the bathroom, you give birth.
Nick's there.
Nick's there helping, yelling, encouraging
It's
you,
great.
verbally encouraging you.
What do I do?
No, but you have your thing.
Sure.
Now, we're going to Dallas. I'm getting up at 5 in the morning, getting in the car at 5:15 and driving to LAX, which means, with a cup of coffee in my hand, which means schedule off.
Good luck.
Now, there could be some damage at LAX. There could be some damage on a small airplane to Dallas. Like, you don't want any of that, but it's bound to happen at the airport more than it is at work. Hopefully, you hit a schedule at work.
These Friday morning shows are tough.
That's
around.
right.
Yeah.
Tough.
Scary.
Right.
Touch and go for some people.
Right.
Obviously, there was no musicians on the plane because they would have just told you, you double bag it. You just put 2 trash bags over the toilet, crap in it, tie it up, put it in the trash. It doesn't smell or anything because you can't crap on tour buses, but sometimes you have to, and so that's what you do.
Wow.
What happens to the bag?
Bear Grylls.
The more you know. Ding.
You put it in the neighbor's trash can, but only on if the trash is going out, Ryan, not if it's coming back. It's not fair.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'd sort of, like, here's my problem with any flight that was being diverted. I'd be like, all right, first things first. Does anyone here need to take a dump? Because if they don't, we're going. We're going through. And then
Can you
secondly...
hold it? Can you hold it?
For 3 hours.
Double bag it. Yeah, and by the way, give them like a drink coupon or some extra Fiesta Mix or something.
No, don't.
The Fiesta Mix.
No!
That'll stop them. That'll back them up.
Block 'em up,
That'll
yeah.
block them up. All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. And that's why I live in a halfway house.
Gina.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Hey, last but not least, Simply Safe. 2 eyes in there. Gina has Simply Safe.
It's
We
the
all
best.
have Simply Safe. 2 eyes, again, SIMPLI. Simply Safe's mission, keep you safe. Protect your home. Do it today and get free shipping at simplysafe.com/Adam. Ooh, Crease is coming on tomorrow. Martin Cove. Got
the
questions
leg.
for him. Nick Hexum, everybody. The 311 tour coming to a city near you. Tickets at 311.com. And the doc, Enlarge the Show Detail, Part 3, shall be available soon on VOD and streaming as well. And
You'll be screaming joy.
And yes, you'll be screaming for joy when you see their doc. And also shoot them a tweet at Nick Hexum. And live shows everywhere for me. You can go to AdamCarolla.com for that. We got a cruise coming up, too. So check that out. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Nick Hexum and Gina Grad and Bald Brian. Say it. Mahalo.
Oh, I get it, because I'm a black woman.
Stick around. Today's episode of Good Sports. Dave Damashek and Adam Carolla coming right up.